We now come to the head of the MEL team, Meltem Baturay. She is professor at Atilim University and in Turkey, and she just joined the list of universities that support this conference. And I have to say, Meltem, you are an integral part of this community right now, and without you, a lot of things would not have happened. Also with Associate Professor Dr. Sajib Toker, he is also the brain behind, like Fatih, with the statistics and the theories. And I can tell you, behind this research you see here, lots of discussions, Zoom meetings, hours and hours. Thank you to Fatih. Thank you to Sajib. Thank you, Meltem. And I think we will have now a very good presentation, because this will open up a new area where we want to research, and that is the digital trust in the educational sectors. Meltem, thank you so much for bringing so many new researchers to the team. We started an online group on Messenger service. I think we have over 50, 60 people now working with us, and we hope that we can produce lots of good research on digital trust in education. Meltem, the floor is yours. We're all listening.
Thank you, Markus. This was a great presentation. I am very happy to be here with you. Thanks for calling this group MEL team. I don't know how it happened, but it became a MEL team suddenly, the Turkey group. Thanks for it. I really appreciate that. I'm so proud to have this name. Okay, today I'm going to talk about digital trust in education, but how demographics has a role on digital trust in an educational institution. Okay, then. Yes, as we know, today we are living in a dynamic world surrounded by digital technologies, transactions, communication, many kinds of, as Can Hocam told, and it is increasing day by day. We are becoming more and more, let's say, exposed to technology. The products of technology became actually a humanized partner of our everyday lives. And the digital technology-based knowledge infrastructure is concerned with the network of people, artifacts, informational resources. Yes, people have a crucial role in establishing or building trust. Trust could only be determined by the actions and transactions among people. And if people do not feel that the others will work towards the benefit of them, of course, they will not take the risk of any cooperation, or they will not take any steps. Okay. What is digital trust? I know that today you talked about quite a lot about this digital trust concept, but I would like to just briefly talk about the definition. It is a level of confidence in people, process, and technology for the aim of building up a secure digital world. It associates with all components of digital interactions, users, processes, devices, technologies, and suppliers. And this is the model. I'm sure Markus has told about this, and Dave also, because this model has been taken from their publication. According to this model, there are 3 dimensions of digital trust at the workplace. The dimensions of it is, as I said, people, technology, and process. And under these dimensions, there are some sub-dimensions, as you see in the model. There are, the people is related to the management from top level to frontline managers, employers, dealing with IT, data supporting bodies, all in all, yes. And there are also suppliers, customers, and other stakeholders in the sub-dimension. There is the process. It is about collecting, processing, storing digital data and digital data protection within the company and between companies. And there is also internet and social media trust within the company under this sub-dimension. And there is the technology dimension, which is related to information technology used, like electronic devices, hardware, software, and perceived quality of technology comes, sub-dimensions comes under this technology dimension. Digital trust in educational institutions. Well, as we know, the internet enriches the educational environment. We are extensively using, I'm an education technologist, we are extensively using technologies for teaching, to support teaching, to enrich our teaching, even in class and out of class. Today, with the online and blended learning models, you know, we can access to students and they can access to teachers 24 hours and 7 days of the week. So classroom teaching expanded beyond school walls. With the pandemic era, you know, with obligatory, let's say, obligatorily, all educational activities for most of us moved to online settings. Yes, we were using them online, let's say, Web 2.0 tools, other kinds of online tools, materials for enriching our teaching. But with the pandemic era, this became a must, and we started to completely use these tools. But this brought potential thinking, potential risks about trust, and it made it fragile more than ever, because we are so much exposed to technology. Okay, digital trust in education is stated in the literature as ensured by the procurement of copyright for educational materials, and by building up of teachers and students' confidence in usefulness and reliability of digital services. Development of digital trust is stated to be one of the problems, unfortunately, insufficiently studied. I hope from now on we will study more and more to, let's say, to develop a theoretical framework, maybe with future studies. Okay. What we did, I would like to present our study now. Well, we wanted to analyze the role of demographics on digital trust. And we collected data from a wide range of countries, from South Africa to South America, from the Far East to Europe, many parts of the world. We had data. And the demographics we measured, we analyzed were age, gender, academic degrees, the country, and the city where these participants live. The research questions was, in the education industry, are there any significant differences in the components of digital trust with respect to or in terms of age range, gender, academic degrees, countries, the size of the city where the participants currently reside? Well, there were around 900 participants from different parts of the world, and 677 of these participants were between the ages of 29 and 58. 50% of them were male, and 35 of them were males. 19% of them have bachelor's degree, 72 of them were graduate of a PhD or postdoc program. The country distribution of the participants shows a wide variety. I don't want to count all countries now, there are great many. I will talk in the results about the ones that had significantly differed in terms of these research questions. I am going to give the names of those countries. 68% of these participants live in cities, 22 of them live in medium-sized cities, and the rest were from the rural areas. Okay, the method we used was survey method. As we know, survey method is questioning individuals on a topic or topics and then describing their responses. So we delivered a questionnaire to collect data, and for the analysis we performed MANOVA. The components of digital trust were the dependent variables. Demographics were the independent variables. You know that these demographics, age, gender, blah, blah, blah. I said many times, yes, these were the independent variables. Okay, let's come to the results. Well, there were significant differences. Sorry, I would like to read the question first. Are there any significant differences in the components of digital trust in terms of age? Well, there were significant differences found in technology trust, which was not very surprising, and the data processing and the components of digital trust in terms of age range. As you guess, between the 19 and 28 years old participants significantly had higher technology trust compared to elders, let's say. You can see their age ranges. This must be due to, because this generation is called digital natives, you know, who were born into a world of technology, so they can use technology in a perfect way. They can easily learn it and use it very effectively. So we can see that as well, their digital trust levels are higher compared to elders. And 59 and older age participants significantly had lower data processing compared to these younger ones. This is also related to a sub-dimension of technology trust, so data processing may be a little bit difficult for the elders. Okay, in the educational institutions, are there any significant differences in the components of digital trust in terms of gender? Well, yes. The levels of females were higher than males with respect to components of digital trust. This was a little bit surprising because in all the studies I have made so far, I always found males a little bit or sometimes with a big difference going further compared to females. But in this study, we found females were higher than males. Except for externals, externals are related to, you know, the people dimension. Externals, we mean here the suppliers, customers, and other stakeholders in this digital trust, let's say, cycle, the people who take roles, stakeholders. Except for externals and the hardware and software systems, let's say, trust, the other components of digital trust were significantly differentiated based on gender in favor of females. Yes. In the educational institutions, are there any significant differences in the components of digital trust in terms of academic degrees? Well, none of the components of digital trust differentiated significantly in terms of academic degrees. It can be inferred that with this finding, there was no impact of academic degrees on digital trust. And when we come to the countries that the participants are from, in the educational institutions, are there any significant differences with respect to digital trust? Yes, all components of digital trust were significantly differentiated in terms of countries. Let's say, categorize these results with respect to the dimensions of digital trust model. According to technology, yes, Sweden was the highest country and Spain was the lowest one. According to electronic devices, it is the sub-dimension of the dimension technology. Vietnam was the highest country and Spain was the lowest country. Hardware and software, Vietnam was the highest country and Spain was the lowest one again. And with respect to people dimension, externals, as I counted them, suppliers, customers, and other stakeholders in an educational institution, the United Kingdom was the highest country and Spain was the lowest one. With respect to IT data supporters, Austria was the highest country and Spain was the lowest one. And with respect to management, Vietnam was the highest country and Spain was the lowest one. With respect to the dimension of process, data processing, United Kingdom was the highest one and Spain was again the lowest. Data protection, Taiwan was the highest country and Spain was the lowest one. And with respect to internet, social and media trust, Vietnam was the highest country, South Africa was the lowest one. In the educational institutions, are there any significant differences in the components of digital trust in terms of the size of the city where they live, the participants live? Because there were choices like city, medium-sized city, and rural areas, where there was a significant difference found on the internet and social media trust, data processing, and hardware and software systems trust. It was like that. The details, the participants living in big cities had significantly the highest internet and social media trust compared to others. And the participants living again in big cities significantly have higher data protection and hardware and software systems trust than the participants living in rural areas. So we can overall say that age had an impact on technology and data protection trust. Females had more digital trust than males. Academic degrees didn't play a critical role on digital trust. Vietnam and UK were the countries that had the highest in most of the components of digital trust, and interestingly, it says Spain was the lowest in most of the components. Living in a big cities was a critical demographic for digital trust, especially for internet, social media, data protection, and hardware and software systems. Well, of course, there was limitations of the study. We used convenience sampling technique. You know, we accessed the available participants who can help us for data collection. This is called convenience sampling. And unfortunately, there was an unequal distribution of the numbers of participants between the categories of demographic variables. It changed, the number of participants changed according to country to country. In some countries, there was a huge number of participants, but in some very little numbers, in tens, let's say. Okay. So this descriptive and comparative study is just a preliminary picture of digital trust in educational institutions. We believe that to understand why and how questions about digital trust, future explorative studies are needed. So this is all for my presentation. Thanks for listening to me. If there are any questions, I would happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Meltem. We are proud to be on the Mel team. I think I found this on the internet, and it is a great analysis. And today I learned more about my own study than I used to know before. And I think this is also thanks to Fatih Çetin, who supported us. And I have to say, this Turkish team is really excellent. Looking forward to meet you all and make a lot of further research. Fatih, your statistics are perfect. Meltem, you're pushing the whole thing. You bring so much power. Günzeli, we're chatting so often about digital trust and your projects. And thank you so much to bring Professor Ochan Saritas to this team. It was also an excellent speech. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Markus, for your collaboration and your support all